One thing that's lacking in the DAWLESS world is the capability of build-ups and drops. Personally, this is a problem that I've been having with my own set. I mean, I only have 2 hands. And so this might be the solution, or at least part of the solution, a piece of gear that's specifically built for build-ups and drops. Compared to the general purpose of this channel, this one kind of comes out of nowhere because it's definitely a bit more in the DJ territory. You see it a lot in DJ sets. It's not just an effects unit, so these 2 sections here, this is effects, this is like an effects section here. This is a sequencer, a limited sequencer, but it's useful. This is not a comparison video, but if you've watched my channel, I've done a lot of SP404 content, especially the SP404 Mark II. This is comparable in some ways to that, but it's different. The most similar thing is this isolator section here. It works in a very similar way. It's also got a low pass filter mixed with echo, as well as a high pass filter mixed with echo as well. So you have those 2 effects that are combined together. Let's check it out. High pass filter. So I could like change the speed of that sweeping if I wanted to be a lot more, have like a tremolo effect. Much slower sweeping. Then I could change the speed or the rhythm of the echo. So this is 16th notes. One, 2, 3, and drop. So right away you can see just how useful this thing is. It came out around the same era as the SP404 SX, so I think it like maybe around 2010, 2012 maybe. It happens to be a lot more expensive than the SX for doing something kind of similar, but I don't know, it definitely has its perks. I can see why it's more expensive. The obvious thing being that there are definitely less effects options, but they're mixed. They're built for drops, for build-ups, so it's great for that. I find that some of these effects combinations are hit or miss, which we'll be checking out as well. And I believe, to my knowledge, that this is the only instrument of its kind, an effects box that's built specifically for breaks and drops. If anyone watching this knows of something similar, please let us know in the comments. I will be checking that out because I haven't committed to this yet. Today's sponsor is DistroKid. They are a music distribution platform geared towards DIY independent artists and producers. We'll be talking about one of their many free promotional tools. It's called Hyperfollow. I believe it's their strongest free promotional tool. It's essentially a link in bio link, and I use it for all of my socials as well as for my singles as well, because you're able to claim as many pages as you'd like for free. More on that later in this video. The very first thing that's very important that I need to mention is that there's tons of headroom on this thing. You can really push it without your audio distorting. It seems quite obvious, but this is really important thing to mention. There are some other units, like, I hate to say it, the SP404 Mark II. It doesn't handle a lot of gain that well. I find that it distorts around 75%. With this, you can push it a little bit more. There's also an input and output, and you can see go about there. But to be safe for you guys, I'm going to bring this down, especially seeing as with some of these effects, the gain does get pushed quite a bit. With live setups, there's a lot to think about. You want something that can handle gain without distorting. It just makes you feel a little bit safer, something you don't have to think about. Another thing I should mention, pretty much all the tracks I have uploaded here are 120, but this thing is an expert at catching the tempo of your track. Catches it right away. So now all of these effects that I use are locked. They're tempo locked to this tempo. And that brings us to effects, of course. So you have 2 effects sections. You have this here, like this little bop it looking section, bop it, as well as the isolator section. So you're able to have effects running on both of these at the same time if you'd like. We have band pass filter echo, which probably is my favorite effects on the unit. There's also echo, which works. These next three here are quite specific, so noise, spiral up, and reverb. Let's try noise. I'm gonna turn everything down to 0 on this, on these parameters here. Like that could be cool. That's cool. But if I... So I guess this is just volume. Yeah, that's volume, too loud. And then there's like a filter sweep. It's interesting. Spiral up. So, not for this style of music. This is very DJ. Like techno DJ style, maybe. Yeah, I haven't wrapped my head around that one yet. And then reverb up. So that's that for this Bop It section. Let's go down to breakdown, high pass, echo. These are pretty straightforward. I'm going to change the track again. Very cool. Same thing with low pass. Yes. Crush echo. Oh god. To me that sounds more like a build-up, not a breakdown. So if you want to go there, spiral down. A little more specific. Intense. Reverb down. There's 3 different ways or sounds that happen when you release the effect. So there could be a vinyl break. Okay, and then there's backspin as well. 2, 3, get out of there. Right, so you don't even have to be in an effects. You could just stop your track, spin back, pull up. Okay, and then there's echo. For this type of music, it's a bit more on the ambient side. Let's turn some of these off. Same thing, so now there's an echo. There's still quite a bit more, so we have this whole section here, isolator effects. Let's look at that. So isolator is pretty straightforward. These are just your different frequencies, low, mid, high. Let's go back to track 1. Very straightforward. Cut, high, mid. So this gets a little bit muddy in the low end. Yeah. So you're adding like I guess a 16th note triplet to whatever frequency that you want. Or 16th note as well. Kind of cool. So this loops whatever frequency that you want. So in this case, mids. Okay, and then there's gate drive. So I could get rid of the whatever frequency that I want, or I could drive that frequency. I find that this one kind of sounds dumb. Like listen to that kick, it just sounds like very dumb. I find it works well on the high end. Yeah, you gotta be graceful with this one, otherwise, like I said, it can sound dumb. And that's actually one thing that I love about this unit. With all this DAWLESS gear, there's a lot of menu diving. I'm realizing that there's no way around it. You could sort of minimize it with something like this, a MIDI controller, where I have all my controls right here, but you're still gonna have to do some menu diving. With this thing, it's all right in front of you. That's what I love about DJ gear. It's very performative. There is another very cool section of the RMX-1000 right here. So this is like the sequencer section. In the case of this setup, I actually have control over 12 voices, so 8 on the Digitact and 4 on the Digitone. So to me, this section kind of does feel a little bit redundant, but if I want to add like an extra, maybe a snare on 2 and 4, or just like little lifts in section, I'm able to do that. I feel like this section is a bit more useful in a DJ setup where you're just running a track, and if you want, you could add drums or your own samples over top of that. I only have this thing for like 2 more days, so I didn't format an SD card or anything like that. So we're just going to be using the default samples. You could switch back and forth. So user would be using the SD card, and this is default right here, which sound terrible in my opinion, at least for this style of music. I could change the pad volume, the pitch. Ooh. I believe that if you do decide to upload your own samples, you have 60 seconds of sampling time per bank. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is. We already know that this is auto snapped to tempo, so if I play this, let's say with a snare, okay. So if you want, you could do that. It has a very specific use and it's there. If you want, you could also overdub rhythms. So let's say I want to clap. Whoops. So I messed that up. So I'm going to delete it, just press overdub again. And now I'm going to enter a new rhythm. 2, 3, 4, 1. You know, just a little lift in the background maybe. Let's add kick to that. I mean, it is kind of cool. You're able to choose your effect source here. So if I select input, it affects the incoming audio input. If I turn it off, it doesn't do anything. I can do the same thing with XPad, which is the sequencer here. Overdub something. Turn that down a little bit. Okay, and so now I'm going to affect this. I don't think I missed anything. That's pretty much the details of this machine. It's very simple, straightforward. It knows exactly what it is. It calls itself a remix station, the RMX-1000. Let's get back to DistroKid and what I think is their best feature. It's called Hyperfollow, which is essentially a link in bio link. It's kind of a curveball because you wouldn't expect a music distribution platform to be doing this sort of thing for free. You can put together a totally centralized link hub with a lot of the same features that other platforms offer, but paid versions of. I'll show you what mine looks like, but first, I'm one of DistroKid's most active members and they gave me this special discount link for you guys to use in case you're not already a member. Go to hyperfollow.com and reserve your username. From there, you can fill in your info. As a side note, other platforms charge you specifically for ad tracking. With Hyperfollow, this is a free feature. And this is what the final result looks like. So you can see my latest single embedded here, my latest YouTube video, important links that I want to lead people to, my social links. It's all there. And this is one of many reasons to go with DistroKid if you haven't already. I've got to say that within my gear peripherals, the RMX-1000 sort of just came out of nowhere. It was recommended to me by a friend who used to be a DJ. If you'd like to purchase the RMX-1000 or any other gear in this video, I've left a purchase link in the description of this video. Besides that, join my Discord, like, subscribe, support what I do. Hit me up on any other social media. I'm literally everywhere, posting all the time. Thank you guys so much for being here and see you in the next one, unless this is our last video. And this is the last time we see each other. Oh.